What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Southern Life. On today's video, we're going to be looking at immigration type arrest in Charlotte County, Florida. This is Mauricio. He lives in Bradenton, Florida, but he was arrested down in Charlotte County. He had a fake driver's license or identification and no driver's license that was valid. Now, normally when guys don't have a valid driver's license, they just don't have that. He went a step further and got a fake document. So that's something you don't see too often with undocumented people. But every once in a while, you get somebody who decides that they think they can outsmart law enforcement by getting a fake document like a fake driver's license and hoping that that's going to prevent them from being arrested, detained, or maybe even deported. Most of the time when we see people with fake IDs, it's usually U.S. citizens who want to do underage drinking or individuals from out of state who think they can outsmart law enforcement trying to do some type of bank fraud or, of course, the common old warrants from out of state. Regardless, this individual not only failed to have a license, but then he also thought he could outsmart law enforcement. This individual is not a U.S. citizen. He's a Mexican national, and most likely he will see a deportation arrest coming soon. This friendly-looking young lady was arrested for violating her probation. She was born in Cuba, but she is a U.S. citizen. She currently resides on the east coast of Florida, but she got jammed up over here violating her probation. Individuals like her are not deportable. They are U.S. citizens despite the fact they are born in another country. She wasn't alone. This is Andy. He also has the same address as her. He was also violating his probation, so a couple's affair right there. Both U.S. citizens, both violating probation. So many things in common. Mexican national from Fort Myers, no valid driver's license, and his vehicle wasn't legally registered. As a Mexican national, he's very deportable. We see a lot of people with no valid driver's license, but usually their vehicles are registered. This guy didn't even figure out the registering the vehicle part, so it seems like driving may not be his thing. So let's get this understood. The first 4 arrests that we're seeing here are Hispanic people who do not live in Charlotte County that are coming to Charlotte County to work. Charlotte County has a fast-growing area, and this attracts a lot of work. It's also an elderly community, so a lot of people here are not part of the workforce. It wouldn't be a far stretch to say that in Charlotte County, Florida, they're literally profiling Hispanics. And I've said that in my previous videos, and these arrests confirm that. And the reason I'm using the word profiling is because you're getting Latinos that are U.S. citizens that have an out-of-county address being arrested as well as a byproduct of their police profiling. So to call it police profiling isn't a far stretch. After all, just on this particular day, this was all arrests from yesterday that are listed for the first time today. We're seeing 4 people arrested in Charlotte County that are all Hispanics with out-of-county addresses. Some of them are not illegal. So again, it's kind of like the byproduct of racial profiling. So this is kind of like a trend in Charlotte County, Florida. They are definitely profiling Latinos. I recently did some Uber driving down there a few weeks ago, and I talked to people that live in this community, and racial profiling was like at the top of the things they're concerned about. So it's just something to keep in mind with Port Charlotte if you're Hispanic and moving there, that profiling there has become a huge issue for Hispanics, legal or not. So something we've talked about on our channel in the past as well is that when somebody is arrested and they feel like their arrest was an injustice, they'll show up crying for their mugshot. Most of the time when you see somebody crying for their mugshot photo, it suggests that they feel that their arrest was an injustice. So meet Eduardo from Lehigh Acres, Florida. He is crying for his mugshot. Born in Mexico, but he is a U.S. citizen. He was arrested for having his driver's license suspended. It can happen. Maybe sometimes it happens even by accident. But regardless, his license is suspended. He is a U.S. citizen. He's not deportable. And I think his arrest is, again, racial profiling. He's one of several people arrested on this particular day in Port Charlotte, Florida, or Punta Gorda, with a Lehigh Acres address. Lehigh Acres is predominantly a Latino community. It's very clear with Charlotte County, Florida, that they are purposely targeting Hispanics and Latinos. In fact, they're up to 60% or more of their arrests being of the profiling type, versus in the past, it was only 20% of their arrests. So they've stepped up the percentage of people being arrested that fit the particular category that's being profiled. So when it comes to Hispanics in Charlotte County, Florida, it's definitely not looking good. When you think about the size of Charlotte County, Florida, it just isn't normal for on one particular day for you to have this many people who are U.S. citizens but foreign born being arrested on these types of charges. That doesn't happen by chance. It's a byproduct of police profiling. On this particular day, there were 10 out-of-county arrests and 4 local arrests. That's not normal because that doesn't correlate with the actual daytime population of Charlotte County, Florida. But there's people from Orlando, Miami, Lehigh, Fort Myers, all being arrested in Charlotte County on this particular day, showing that law enforcement is specifically targeting people that are commuting to this county for work. So this isn't an opinion, this is analytical, and it's very obvious by looking at their arrests that they are purposely targeting out-of-county people for arrest. Now here in Florida, it's normal for a small percentage of the arrests to be from out of county. Here in Sarasota, we get people from Bradenton, we get people from Fort Myers, from Tampa, but it's a small percentage. It isn't a 10-to-4 ratio. So this goes to show that right now, police profiling is a real thing in Charlotte County, Florida. This is a Mexican national, not a U.S. citizen, from Bradenton as well. He had 2 charges for out-of-county warrants. So what's happening now is there's a lot of heat in Bradenton. So many of the people that were working in Bradenton are now going to other counties. And there seems to be a lot of people being arrested in Charlotte County with Bradenton address. So this gives you an idea if people from all the way up here in Bradenton are going down to Charlotte County to work, it's at least an hour drive. U.S. citizen from Fort Myers, Florida was arrested in Charlotte County. 3 charges of battery on a law enforcement officer. They discovered that he had out-of-county warrants and he wasn't going to go down without a fight. Of course, not everybody's from out of county. Here's a local. He's been arrested 3rd or subsequent time for petty theft. But on this occasion, he decided to fight the cops, fight the anti-theft security, caused 3 charges of more than $1,000 in damage while trying to evade this arrest. He's a shoplifter and he can't be stopped. He's done it before. He's going to continue breaking into stores and doing whatever he wants to get the things he wants for free. Of course, the undocumented people got to drive all the way from Bradenton and they got to work all day in the heat. Well, he can just break into a store and take whatever he wants by force, and anybody who tries to stop him is going to get, and they're going to get hurt for it, of course. David's a landscaper from Sarasota, U.S. citizen. He was arrested down there in Charlotte County for drinking and driving, possession of paraphernalia, and he also had the herbal essence. So he cuts the grass, but he may not show up sober. He's very inclusive. He's got the herb, he's got the liquid, and he's got the pipes for whatever powdery substances may come along. Going back to Tuesday, this is Lewis. He's from Arcadia. He was arrested for no valid driver's license as well as violating a community order. Mexican national with no valid driver's license, almost certainly going to end up in a deportation. And I wouldn't doubt that the community order was that he self-deport. Mexican national also from Arcadia, no valid driver's license as well. Most likely going to be a deportation. Now, I'm not saying this is the case with these arrests, but I have seen in Florida how they'll arrest the passengers as well for no valid driver's license, even though they're not driving the vehicle. So sometimes these arrests, they're just looking to arrest people, even if technically they're not doing what they're being charged with. It's starting to be a mess here in Florida. In Naples, they recently arrested somebody with a strange charge. It was like no valid driver's license, but while not operating a vehicle, so the person wasn't driving, but they still arrested him for not having a driver's license. So they're getting a little crazy here in Florida. Now, this gentleman is from Iran. He lives in Cape Coral. He was charged with a false ID, uttering a fake check or other type of commerce equivalent currency. He also had grand theft. So it looks like he was scamming and defrauding people out of real property with either fake checks or fake currency. Now, he was born in Iran, but he is a U.S. citizen. So there's no reason for him to have a fake ID for other than the fact that it facilitates his ability to use fake checks to steal stuff. So this guy's definitely engaging in some harmful economic activity. Now, many times Iranians are not refugees, they're exiles. It means that they had to leave their home country. So it's a little bit more of a complicated legal status for somebody who's coming from a place like Iran. Usually when they come to the United States, it's because they absolutely have to get rid of their residence in their home country to ensure their livelihood. So it's a little bit trickier of a status, but nonetheless, if the United States is sheltering you from whatever the crap they're going to do you in Iran, why are you over here being a detriment to the society by scamming and defrauding? Hispanic, U.S.-born, U.S. citizen from North Dakota, arrested on some court-related charges. Also arrested on Tuesday the 10th, this man from Honduras, no valid driver's license, Northport address, that's right next to Charlotte County. Out of 20 arrests on Tuesday, 9 were Hispanic last names. Now keep in mind, you have a lot of whites married to Hispanics down here. You also have a lot of Hispanics that are born here already, like generationally. But I just think it's disproportionate that out of 20 arrests, 9 were Hispanic last names and 2 were Greek last names. So more than half of the arrests in Charlotte County, Florida were basically Latino, even though if you look at the county's demographics, it doesn't really reflect that. So there is an abnormality of demographics of arrests in this county right now. When you look at the composition of this county, that really doesn't check out. I mean, for one, most of the crime in this county is related to addiction and drinking and domestic issues and stuff like that are mostly among the white population. So nothing really seems to check out here in Charlotte County right now. It definitely seems like they're shamelessly targeting Hispanics here. So if you're Hispanic, probably stay the crap out of this county because people ain't being treated right. When David finishes wrapping up those alcohol and drinking and drug charges he's got, let him mow those lawns.